Good morning and welcome everybody. It's so good to see you here again. I am so happy you've joined us. Today is our first lesson on our path to consciousness and we are so excited to have you here. So we're going to start off the way that we always do with our offertory blessing. And so we are going to hold our hands together, or you can put money or a heart in your hand, and we're going to do our offertory blessing. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all the good I am and have, all the good I give and receive. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. It's just like a magic penny, hold on tight and you won't have any. Lend it, spend it and you'll have so many, they'll roll all over the floor. Love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more and more and more and more and more. Alright, so now we are going to go ahead and do our centering activity where we get centered and we get back with God. So I want you to go close your eyes, take a deep breath in, blow it out. Take another deep breath in, blow it out. I want you to feel God's love flowing in and through you, and I want you to think of how you might talk to a friend if you were trying to encourage them. You might say, "You've got this, you can do this, you're amazing." Just breathe those words in. Allow yourself to feel how it feels to say those words and to hear those words. Now I want you to practice saying those words to yourself. I can do this. I've got this. I am amazing. And as you breathe those words in, I want you to continue to think of how you might speak to a friend and encourage them. And just feel those words. Feel how it feels to speak to yourself with these kind words and how it feels to use these words with you. Now as we open our eyes, we continue to feel the love and encouragement.
So here at Unity, we believe in the metaphysical interpretation of the Bible. Do you know what that could mean? So the metaphysical interpretation is that we believe that some of the prayers and Bible stories were written in metaphors and idioms. And in this book, we're going to see what some of them look like.
Monkey Business by Wallace Edwards. See if you know any of these that you might have heard before. Idiom, a group of words whose meaning cannot be understood from the meaning of the individual words. An expression peculiar to a specific language that cannot be translated literally. Even in the serious meeting, Professor Epson sensed there might be monkey business going on. You heard that one before? Or when he was on the ball, there was no limit to what King Picklebottom could do. How about this one? It was cold and wet outside, but Gavin felt as snug as a bug in a rug. I'm sure you've heard this one before. Eloise had a craving for snails, but she accidentally opened a can of worms. Or Phil had no formal musical training, so he learned to play by ear. The McRhino brothers, Agnes and Skip, would often lock horns over who got to play the pipes. As an artist, Nash was constantly looking for things to sink his teeth into. While doing his famous Wiggly dance, the amazing Shoeman always tried to put his best foot forward. Or despite his great skill as a barber, Hank couldn't make heads or tails out of some of his customers. Snowflake had a strange feeling that someone was playing cat and mouse with her. Or Willie seemed to attract misfortune, but Billy was a lucky duck. Byron had a lot on his mind, yet he couldn't think of a word to write. Win or lose, Bluebell raced Big Daddy Jim. She always had a whale of a ride. After saying she wouldn't be hungry if she missed lunch, Paige ended up eating her words. Every time Boobsy twins bounced by, old Zeke was reminded that he wasn't a spring chicken anymore.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about some of the ones that we mentioned in the book. So remember how we said eat your words? What do you think that might mean? You have to take back what you said to admit that you were wrong, right? Okay. How about fish out of water? Yeah. Someone who is unfamiliar or comfortable or in uncomfortable surroundings. Someone who doesn't fit or is awkward or helpless in situations. Have you ever felt that way sometimes? How about lucky duck? It's a fortunate person. Sometimes when something happens to you and it makes you feel good, you feel like a lucky duck, right? In monkey business, you remember monkey business? That was silly, playful, or foolish behavior, mischievous, dishonest, or illegal activities. Have you ever done some monkey business before? And open a can of worms. Remember that one? With all the worms out? Well, that wasn't really what that meant, right? It means to cause trouble, to bring up a problem that led to more problems. Or play by ear. Did you remember the dog with the violin? Do we really play with our ears to learn? No. So this was playing by tune after hearing it rather than by reading a musical note to improvise. Also, let's see, we read, put your best foot forward. To do or show your best, to try to make a good impression. Sinking your teeth into, remember that one? That one's to take a bite of something, to get a chance to do or learn something challenging. Snug as a bug in a rug. That one means to be cozy and comfortable. And I think that was all the ones that we read.
All right, so today for our opening activity, we are going to draw our own idiom or metaphor of something we hear during the day that is not meant exactly how it's said. So some of the ones in the book were a lot on his mind, remembering all those things on his antlers, or snug as a bug in a rug. We're not really talking about bug all rolled up in a rug. So I want you to take the time to think of one, and it can be one from the book, or it can be one that you just hear around your house or maybe school from people that you know. And we will draw it, and then we're going to take our time to show it to each other or to your parents or whoever you're sitting at your house with. All right, so now it's time to share our pictures. And this is the one that I decided to draw. And we say this a lot at church, so it's letting your light shine. When we say let your light shine, we don't really mean that you're going to have this beaming light shooting out of your chest and people will be able to see this bright light shooting out of you, right? You're not going to glow like a glowworm. No. So, but we still know what that means, right? We know that that means to let our love show through and to share kindness. And so I drew a picture of somebody giving flowers and letting their light shine. And so that's what it would look like if we actually meant literally what we're saying. All right, so over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be going over the Lord's Prayer and breaking it down and talking about the metaphysical interpretation of it. So we're going to start by just saying the Lord's Prayer from the beginning. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. All right, so this week we're going to be talking about the first two lines. And the first line, Our Father who art in heaven. So at Unity, we know that God is everywhere all the time. And so we don't really think of God as being up in heaven looking down at us. So what do you think that could mean, Our Father who art in heaven, if we're not talking about saying that God is up in heaven looking down on us? So yeah, we could think of it in a variety of ways, but most importantly, we want to think of Father, Mother, God, whatever you want to call it, that is, God is the creator of everything. And cosmic creator of everything, so everything that exists in the universe. And so when we think of the universe, we think of it being up in the sky, right? And the reason we think that they use the name Father is because that was the best description they could give of someone that loves you unconditionally and takes care of you, and just that nurturing feeling. So sometimes you might hear us say Father, and sometimes you might hear us say Mother. And so the second sentence, hallowed be thy name, is referring to the light. So we say hallowed be thy name, with the light that shines through. The God light that shines in us, the voice that talks to us in silence. It is that voice that we hear when we clear our minds and become more centered with God. So today we're going to read The Secret to Teen Power by Paul Harrington. And we're just reading an excerpt from page 35. Shiri's Secret. At the start of my last year at school, 12th grade, I was pretty much depressed. In all my 11 years of school, I was never sure of myself. Never had real friends, never had a bit of fun, and if I did, it was rare. I was behind when it came to studying. I lived an unhealthy lifestyle. I used to stay out 3 times a week, and I had bad relationships with my family. I knew my life was heading in a bad direction, and all I wanted was to change it. I had no idea how, and no plan. I just wanted badly to change it. So I started to study, and stopped hanging out with the people who influenced me badly. I tried to change my lifestyle, but it just did not work. I realized I was not going forward, even though I was willing it, because I still thought in the wrong way, and I should change that. So I forced myself to feel good. Since then, my life turned out to be gold. It happened like magic. I received even more than I asked for. At first, it was with studying. I forced myself to believe I do know. I am smart. And then my grades started to go higher and higher till I had top grades from all 9 classes at school. I didn't study too much either. 1 to 2 days studying was enough for me, while other students were studying for a week plus. After that, I forced myself to feel I'm loved. I asked for true friends. I don't know how, but I suddenly found great friends and soulmates in my school when I was sure I couldn't relate to anyone. People love me, even the ones who used to hate me. One time, a girl who was known for hating me lost her car keys at school. and I found them. She and her friends thanked me and said, "The whole school is talking so good about you now." I was happy because I had been pretty much hated in my school. That was a huge change for me. Every possible thing I had problems with in my life turned out to be good because I forced myself to feel good. I forced myself to feel loved. I forced myself to feel wanted, and in the end, I got it. My advice: believe, believe, believe. It will pay off for the best. Shiri, age 18, from Kiryat Shmona, Israel. So, in the beginning, Shiri complains about what? That's right. So he feels like he's never really had fun, never really making connections, and he's pretty much been miserable throughout his school life, right? And so does he start by changing his whole life all at one time, or does he take small steps? That's right, he takes small steps. And so he says he started with what? He started with studying. That's right. And so after the studying, he started telling himself, I am smart, I can do this, which we know is an affirmation, right? And so when we start talking to ourselves in a positive way and affirming that we can do this and we are smart enough. And he says that it really started helping him, and he wasn't having to study as much as other people were, and that he still was able to make good grades, right? And then he took the second step. And what was that second step? That's right. He decided he was going to feel loved. He was going to force himself to feel loved, and he was asking for true friends. And even the people that had previously not liked him at all or even hated him were starting to like him, right? And so his suggestion is to just believe. So we're going to keep reading for a second. It's your call. It's in your hands. You can choose to feel good now, or you can put it off for another day, week, month, or maybe longer. In fact, you can stay miserable as long as it suits you. But here's a little secret. Misery doesn't suit you. It's not your style, and you don't wear it well. So then what do you choose? To feel good now? Because this is the bottom line. Feeling good is totally your birthright. And feeling good is what it's all about. Feeling good now changes all of your tomorrows. Feeling good is the secret. And the greatest secret is just feel good. So what's that greatest secret? Just feel good. And so sometimes it's really hard to just feel good, right? Sometimes we get stuck in those negative thoughts of like, oh, this isn't working out, and I don't like how this is going, or I just can't do this. And so we're talking about making a choice to feel good now. So let's talk about how we do that. The Secret 101. A lot of people get into computer role-playing games like World of Warcraft or Grand Theft Auto. There's that whole immersion in the virtual world, the adventures and thrills of life and death situations. But the best part is you can just press pause and when things turn sour. Wouldn't that be great if we could do that in real life? Especially when things aren't going your way or just don't seem to be going well, and when you just don't feel good? Well, as a matter of fact, just like in role-playing games, you can press pause to take time out on life. So you can then focus on shifting your feelings. And in order to shift your feelings, it's cool to have up your sleeve the secret shifter or two. That's a mood shifter, something that makes you feel instantly happy. Something you can recall at any time to make you feel great and re-energized so you're ready to re-enter the game life. Maybe it's an awesome memory, a flashback, or a funny moment, or good times with your best friend, a great vacation, or a classic song, or maybe even a picture of your latest crush. What are your greatest and most precious moments? Maybe it's a combination of all of these things, like a montage of memories. So think about your montage. Write down a list of things that bring you a smile to your face every time you think of them. So really think about those things that bring joy and a feeling of comfort. I'm sure we've all had some. Maybe you can remember your favorite vacation with your family, or maybe it's something that happened with a teacher. Maybe a teacher's really touched your life, or an aunt or an uncle, or it could even be just hanging out with one of your siblings or your cousins or your best friend. And anytime you're feeling stressed or depressed or angry or unhappy, look at your list, recall your montage, and just feel good. And that's the key to the good life, the power, the secret, made simple. So oftentimes it's easier for us to think of the things that are stressful and make us unhappy, and so then in that way we're choosing to be unhappy. It's sometimes hard to see it as a choice, but I want you to, over this week, start today by making your list. I want you to make a list of at least 3 things, specific moments that brought you joy or made you feel good in some way. And it could be feeling good in a comfort way, like you felt really loved, or it could be something that was so much fun and so exciting. Whatever it is, I want you to write down 3 or more. You could write down as many as you can. And when you start to feel sad or anxious or anything that you don't want to feel that might be upsetting or preventing you from doing what you want to do, I want you to look at that list and make a conscious effort for just a moment to just feel good. Just feel the feeling that you felt when that moment happened. And then let's look at it at the end of the week and see how did that change the way that your day was going. All right, so today's activity is going to be making a prayer box. And so we have these little prayer boxes, and some of you may have water paint, some of you may have regular paint. You can use that. You could use markers or stickers, whatever you have to decorate your box. And this is going to be your prayer box. And in your prayer box, we are going to put affirmations and prayer requests. We might even put in some thank you notes to God, knowing that everything we need is already here. We already have everything we need. So I painted mine with some watercolors, and you can use a little sticker on here. And then when we're ready to put our prayer requests in, we just open up our box and put them in there. And so you can write affirmations. You could use some of the affirmations from today's book, or you can use any kind of prayer request. If you want to pray for health or for a family member, you can write them down. For my younger friends, you might even draw a picture and put it in. All right, so now we're going to go into our closing prayer. So I invite you to close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and as you breathe in, I want you to feel God's love flowing in and through you, warming each and every part of your life. Feeling God's love surrounding and bursting through you like shining from your heart. And as we go forward today, we take that love and we share it with ourselves and everyone. we choose to focus on the good in our lives and the good in others. As we affirm, I am love, I am joy, I am kind. I want you to say that to yourself. I am love, I am joy, I am kind. We go forward today sharing that love and kindness with each and every person that we see and with ourselves. We are grateful. Alright, so let's do our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And we are grateful. Go be a light in the world. Have a great